All right, let's do this thing again. All American Metals bringing you the show tonight, aa-metal.com. These are the folks that can help you get anything you need built in the way of steel buildings. Now, I talk a lot about the residential application. That'd be a nice pole barn, keep your stuff on your personal property all dried in and safe. And I love the fact that I have that ability. You know what, though? I wish I'd added about 6 more feet sometimes, and I didn't have anybody to kind of challenged me on that. I just drew it out by hand and did it the hard way. I didn't know about All American Metal, but now you do. So don't pull your hair out. Don't think it's going to have to be a stressful thing. They'll start with the design. They're really quick on their turnarounds. They'll get you everything you need to get that building out of the ground and built. And they're local folks, patriotic family, been around doing this stuff since the 60s. And because they produce all of the building themselves, they got their own factories, they've been their own steel. They build all of the framing, the secondary framing, all the screws, bolts, insulation, doors and window packages, all that stuff's in stock. They don't have to worry about the supply chain. They even bring it to you on their own trucks once they've assembled that building into a package. They can help you with getting all documents you need for financing or zoning. And then, of course, if you need a contractor that specializes in these things, they got a whole network that can be put together for you. And if you're a contractor, reach out to them and use them as your supplier. They're quick on their turnaround, better on their prices, and it's a superior product. I appreciate John and that whole group over there. It's aa-metal.com, aa-metal.com. Well, here we are in the very famous Irma Hotel in downtown Cody, as all these fine folks are here. It's late in the day for them. It's 1:24, so they're kind of wrapping up the lunch hour. People, what they're famous for here at the Irma as far as the restaurant goes is this prime rib that they do, and it's kind of buffet style. Actually, if you look back to the back of the restaurant there, you'll see folks lined up there at the buffet line, and it's just one of the more things. If it's one of those things, if you're a tourist, you got to come through the Irma and try their prime rib and take up on that special while you're here. And, of course, we'll be hanging out here doing the headlines and the news and doing all that stuff. We're over on the saloon side. Why, you would ask? You hear all that noise in the background, AJ? It means I can talk as loud as I want and nobody cares. I'm on the side where they're having boisterous conversations. And
Where's your cowboy hat, though, man?
You know, it kept blowing off yesterday, and I was in such a hurry to get over here, I forgot it. And I don't really like wearing it indoors. But you know what? When my wife comes back, I may get her to bring it back to me.
Okay.
I'll get the cowboy hat before the
Well,
end.
at least got to have like a cowboy or a trucker hat. You got to have something.
Yeah, today, man, it was just all about getting this stuff. It took me 2 hours to get this setup done, but it's worth it. This is such a fun show to be able to do sometimes. I'll don a lid before it's all over. I posted our friend last night that joined us at the end, little 8-year-old Crockett Hodge. He's a little rodeo competitor at 8 years old, and we talked about him quite a bit, and Jessica took a picture of us, and I was like, I got to post about him. Some people probably missed that interview, and it got a great response online. This little kid was like a little man, and you know, I'm a dad of 3 sons, and I've got stepsons now, and I'm all about raising young men to be disciplined and to have some of these traditional values and to be tough. If you're doing your job as a parent, I believe you got to prepare young boys to stand on their feet and be strong. And it's just encouraging to see a kid who's being raised right. And this kid was so honest and sincere and articulate and kind. And then he shook my hand at the end and impressed me more. So I had to post about little Crockett yesterday. He's been one of the first little characters we've met out here that's just been fun to talk about. We'll meet more over the course of this show, too, of course, by the time we get to 6 o'clock. Let me talk about some of the news of the day real quick. I guess the thing that's right in front of us in the moment, and I've been trying to keep up with the minute-to-minute accounts, is the Charlie Kirk murder trial that is going on right now in Provo, Utah. So today was, now again, what they're doing is, let me retract, it's not a trial, it's a preliminary hearing. So it's kind of a mini version of a trial, but it's not a normal presentation of evidence and then a defense case. It's just determining this whether there's enough evidence and what kind of evidence is going to be used. And so they're presenting all this to the judge. So the judges had to do a balancing act as to what the public can see at this stage. The Erica Kirk's family and Charlie Kirk's family want all of it out there because, and you can see their motivation. The kook class of people that have access to microphones and podcast cameras have been terrorizing this family after they'd already had such loss, and the facts betray all of those conspiracy theories. And the Kirk family's known this the whole time. They've known when the truth comes out and the public can see all the evidence that's there, how overwhelming it is, everybody will shut up. And that was probably, it took a lot of patience to have that approach, but that's probably the wisest approach. And so I know they've been looking forward to these public moments. They had to fight real hard to get the cameras in the courtroom in that case. And so today was the video where Lance Twiggs, the lover of the shooter, Tyler Robinson, tells the whole story about how he confessed. He totally confessed to shooting him repeatedly. And so all that detail is being presented in the courtroom today. Emotional, as you would expect. Erica Kirk, courtroom, having to relive all that stuff and the admissions of guilt. What a freak show. This little furry imp, little impish twit, and his gay lover are just part of a screwed up ecosystem in this country. I wrote about this in a piece published in 1819, and I stand behind every word I wrote back then, just trying to think about the toxic incubation of people to be to think the way they think and to be so violent and act the way they've been acting. So more will be out on that through the afternoon. I think the preliminary hearing is going to go on through the afternoon. I'll have to jump back in there and see what we can see about that. And now the judge did rule that the whole interview will be made public and played in court, displayed on the monitors, and the media has been able to see that today. And the Kirk family had to make another filing this morning. They wanted to redact a lot of it. In fairness to the judge, he's got to preserve the integrity of the trial that's forthcoming. But at this stage, it's good to get some real facts there. And that's been a big dramatic story for most of the day today. We'll get to that and everything else in your phone calls as well. 545-9950 live from the Irma Hotel in Cody, Wyoming on the Leland Light America's 250 Roadshow, brought to you by Appalachian Foothills RV Park and Service Center. All right, 2:33, Leland Live, Talk to 5 Alabama Gold Refinery bringing the show tonight. AGR, AlabamaGoldRefinery.com. Here's a place that you can go get fair exchange if you're wanting to buy precious metals or sell precious metals. Steve will even trade with you. In other words, if you've got old chains and rings and jewelry that you don't wear anymore and you want to just bring it in and exchange that for maybe some gold that's in a collectible form, a stamped form with the weight and all that on it and the purity. He'll do that for you at AGR. Sometimes he even offer a little sort of a premium on doing that kind of exchange too. It's always good to hold some of this stuff in your portfolio. Just smart. Don't take it from me. Go talk to Steve. He can explain it to you in a very detailed way. He's so knowledgeable. This is his business. It's what he does. So go see him at AGR, downtown Homewood, across from the Regions Bank, right there on 29th. That big, tall, I call it the big, tall Regions building. There are multiple Regions Bank buildings in town, but that's the one with the sort of I guess it's the tallest building in Homewood. So just to give you a landmark, and you can roll right up to the door. All the security's there in place for you to take your valuables in and out. And it's good to have a reliable, honest place to do these kind of exchanges. It's AlabamaGoldRefinery.com as we are hanging out here in the beautiful little town of Cody, Wyoming. We were here yesterday, of course, taking care of the rodeo. There's a little shot of downtown. Got regulars walking around and tourists walking around. It's a beautiful day today. I almost took a chance on sitting on their porch out here. The Cody's, the Irma Hotel is where we are today. It sits on a corner like that business that you see across the street. And I almost sat outside, but we had enough trouble. I had enough trouble with the wind yesterday and trying to battle the elements and manage all this stuff. So we decided to just hang out here in the bar area in the saloon like we did a few years ago. So that's what we're doing this afternoon. Let's switch to another news story real quick, and this is becoming more and more fascinating by the minute. So you've heard about these flock cameras. These are supposed to be tag reading cameras, or cameras that read tags for public safety and security. And I went through a little speech the other day because there was a story out of Georgia where 5 cops down in Albany were using the tag and data collected by those flock cameras. They were using the data for personal use, I think to blackmail people or to threaten. We don't have a lot of details in the case, but they actually arrested 5 cops and charged them with misuse of this data. Now, all along, public safety officials that use this system and the flock company that makes the devices, you'll see them. They're very obvious when you see one. They've got to always have a solar panel and sort of it looks like a typical sort of home surveillance camera with a large solar panel. But the folks that are worried about the surveillance state, the Big Brother aspect, are becoming more and more up in arms because of what the theory is the public's completely being lied to about what these cameras are actually collecting. Because sometimes they're found in unusual places which would not have any tag reading purpose. In other words, hiking trails, some of the reproductive clinics, some of them are conspicuously near places of sensitivity. And I understand the public safety angle, but as everything in life, whenever you talk about the potential for public safety, there's always potential for abuse. It reminded me, and I've forgotten about this story when it broke the other day, it reminded me of a story a few years ago, and I can't remember how it was rectified, but we had a cop in Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa had installed surveillance cameras on the Strip to be able to watch out and to provide some security for all the tourists that come in to watch the Alabama games and for the nightlife scene over there in Tuscaloosa. And the story was, and I vaguely remember how long, I don't even remember how long this has been, but one of the cops over there was just being a straight pervert. I don't know, AJ, you might remember this story. And he was following good-looking co-eds around with the camera. He would spot a hottie like it was a kiss cam at a baseball game and just follow him around on the Strip with the cameras, and somebody caught the guy. So the point of bringing that up is if it's possible for people to abuse some of this surveillance, they're going to do it. I don't know if there's ever a case where the government's been given additional tools that even though the intent might have been sincere, where there wasn't some follow-up abuse. And so now we're seeing it with these flock cameras all over the place. But we're also seeing another thing start to happen as online, I'll go ahead and call them conspiracy communities, because sometimes they are operating without full information, but some of them are bringing up some very serious points about these cameras. There's even a website one of our listeners sent me to help people avoid these cameras. It it's a map of where these cameras are. But I believe it's in Houston and a couple other towns. I've already found some television stories where people are taking their own revenge against these cameras when they see them out in public, and they're just cutting them down. Here's some audio, if AJ has it, of a TV station, and I think this was out of Houston, Texas, where they've had at least 4 or 5 instances where somebody's going around with some kind of tool and just cutting these things down like trees because the public is pushing back on them. Take a listen to this.
This camera has been cut down, completely sprayed over with an American flag on it, and not far away there's another flock camera on the ground as well. HPD says it's investigating this, but so far there are more questions than answers. These cameras, meant to help solve crimes, now becoming the target of one, both cut in half and covered in spray paint.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the cameras were there until you actually pointed that out.
Juan Rodriguez's business, Spar Houston, is located by Washington Avenue and Westcott, where this happened. These are flock cameras, meant to read license plates and alert police if they're connected to crimes. Rodriguez says he didn't see who did this, but he's left wondering why they did.
That's what it sounds like it would be, somebody just protesting, their rights are being violated or something like that.
Flock cameras have been used in the city of Houston since 2021, according to the company. The Houston Police Department tells us they were notified these cameras were damaged on the morning of July 4th. As far as the repair costs, HPD says it depends on who is responsible for these specific cameras. While some cameras are installed through city contracts, others are done with neighborhoods or private groups that choose to share footage with police. HPD couldn't confirm who was responsible for these cameras, only saying this is an ongoing investigation. ABC 13 reached out to Flock asking if they were aware of this situation and what the repair process would look like. They didn't answer those questions, but did say, quote, damaging public safety equipment is illegal and puts the community at risk, which is why we strongly condemn this type of behavior. As far as how often something like this happens, Flock says overall they see very few reports of vandalism. Sarah Alshake, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
I remember being a local reporter and ending all of my sentences like this. I call it the reporter singing the sing song. It's like they learn a song in J school, and I think I did it too back in the day. Anyway, so there's that local reporter out in Houston giving you the deets. I don't know if this is going to wind up being a national trend. When we brought it up the other day with the abuse down in Albany, Georgia, we did have some folks start to immediately send me all kind of articles of stuff like that. You know, by birthright, Americans are just privacy oriented. Now, here's some truth for you, though, just to understand how the laws work. In a public setting, on a public street or in a public sidewalk, you don't have a reasonable expectation of that kind of privacy, even from say TV news crews. I mean, in fact, heck, I got a camera outside right there right now, out on the public streets. There are public spaces and private spaces. So in the end, I think this is going to come down to any of the political pushback in these jurisdictions that are using them, and then of course where they're deployed. If they're deployed to surveil people's homes or private businesses, or they intrude on that kind of space, that there's going to be even more problem, because there are cameras on you all day whenever you travel around. I read a story, and I'm forgetting the number right now in the moment, but it was I hope I've got this right. If you go about your normal day and move through and say do a shopping trip, go to a say a Walmart or a grocery store, in and out of any kind of gas stations, and we know this from crime investigations, the average on an average day, you're photographed about 70 or 80 times that you don't even realize. And that's probably compounded since the advent of even more and more cheaper and easily deployable technology. When you're driving down the highways, there are all kind of cameras taking pictures of the motion in your car. Even this Tyler Robinson situation right here, with this trial going on, this preliminary hearing, which is again still live. They're using a lot of public surveillance to backtrack and re-piece together this guy's movements to bolster a case to solve a crime. So there's an easy argument to be made of how this stuff has, of course, a useful purpose. I don't think it's as useful to prevent crime, because we've all become kind of numb, and maybe y'all are the same way too. You're kind of numb to the fact that there are cameras around you all the time, and you just forget they're there and move about your business in a lot of ways where you forget you're being observed so much. At least I know I do. I don't think about cameras when I go into a Walmart or whatever. but they're there for the security of that business, and it's a private business. But rather than it being a preventive that people say, well, I better not do this because there's a flock camera, it's really more used after the fact to as evidence. Some people, somebody somewhere today when I was reading about it described it as a digital eyewitness, that it's just a witness that's out there to witness crimes or movement that can be used by law enforcement. I know there's a case to be made for that, but here's the rest of the story. As Paul Harvey would say, government officials are in charge of these things, and government officials are human beings, and human beings are very fallible and culpable sometimes in abuse. And when you give somebody too much power, people's privacy rights can be abused. We've got to strike a balance on this thing. And the attention is really out there right now, especially of late with the social media coverage in particular. DistinctivePools.com. Let's talk about the fun sponsors talk about in the afternoon, because I think about what they sell. Some people that we have on the show sell things you need. Some people sell things that are just fun that you might want. There are wants and needs in this world. So I don't know that anybody needs a pool, but boy, a lot of people want a pool. And some of you might want a pool and you don't know you want a pool until you find a pool that's built right, and that's what they do at Distinctive. They build them correctly. They've been doing it. Gary Levesque's been building these things for 40 years, both the pools and the hardscapes. The man knows his stuff. Before you guess at it or talk yourself out of it, do some homework. The easiest way to do that is to get Distinctive to come out and give you a drawing. Wouldn't it be nice to know what it would look like on your property? And then secondly, get you a budget so you're dealing with real numbers. And then you've got a financial decision to make. They've even got finance companies that can come along and help you afford these things at Distinctive. Gary's a good dude, too. Veteran of this country, character himself, and can build you a fine pool. Don't put an ugly, poorly designed, cheap pool on your house. You're going to cheapen your house. Do it right. Invest properly in your home with DistinctivePools.com, DistinctivePools.com. All right, we're going to take another little quick break, and we'll come back. We'll go to the phones here in just a little bit, too, if y'all want some comments or have some questions. We'll juggle some more headlines as breaking and developing stories are continuing by the minute. Leland Live on the road in Cody, Wyoming at the famous Irma Hotel. Back here in just a minute. All right, 48, Leland Live, Talk 99.5. If you look at the shot there on Live Talk TV, man, it got loud in here all of a sudden on Real Talk TV. See those two guys with the cowboy hats just moseying? That is the definition of moseying right now, just easing on down the street in Cody, Wyoming, here at the Irma Hotel. Let me give a quick plug to our main sponsor of the road shows this year, my good friend Stan and all those guys over at Alabama Foothills RV Park and Service Center. They're in Winfield. It's a little bit of a drive from Birmingham, but if you've got a motorhome or an RV, that's what it's about anyway, right? Going places. So make that drive in the Birmingham area. You can pick the station up, except for when the lightning hit our tower and messed up our signal a little bit for a while. You can pick the station up all the way to Winfield. I've driven up there many times. Okay, here's my buddy over here. You gonna come talk to me? Come talk to me. I got AJ. It's the best interview I'm gonna do. Right over here. Hang on just a second. Let me wrap something up here. Yeah, Appalachian Foothills RV and Repair Center and RV Park. They did all the work on my ride and always do, even in previous shows. These are guys that always do my oil changes and all of my maintenance, my routine maintenance. They've repaired damage for me. They're just I think they're the best at what they do. If you want it done right, you can trust them, and they're good folks. It is Appalachian Foothills RV and Service Center on exit 30 on I-22 there in Winfield, Alabama. All right, my buddy just left me, AJ. One of the funniest interviews I did the last time I was here was one of the people that work here. I'm forgetting her name right now, but I remember what she looks like, and she was just such a character. She just came waddling right over here. I said, come talk to me, and then she walked right off. So I'll just get the interview when I get it. I'll get it when she's ready. And she just wasn't ready. I think she had something to do, actually, while I was sitting there talking. Let me flip to the war. We've got new information coming across that it looks like we're bombing again for the third day in Iran. So far, I guess you would technically call that a sustained campaign. We don't know if we've returned to full-on war until some point, but the target list is rich. We gathered a lot of intelligence during the stall tactics, and now those targets are being taken out, and it's some impressive stuff. We took a bridge out that really connects Iran to China, and if you know your geography, they're in the eastern part of the Middle East and very much connected by land to China and honestly Russia through the same railway system. It's believed that a lot of the stuff that they were able to smuggle in during this downtime came from China, so we hit that bridge. And so again, the headline this hour, a third wave of bombing from the U.S. tonight. I'm sure we'll get a CENTCOM statement in a little while. I think it's just become dark. Right as we're coming to air, it's starting to get dark in Iran, and then that's when we usually fire it up. So I just hope it results in regime change. There is one peculiar thing about this, and I'll do my own conspiracy theory on this right now. But, we've got this new Air Force One, and we talked about it yesterday. I think the thing is beautiful. I was skeptical that when Trump wanted to change the paint job, he had a model of it in his office for months and months. His idea was we should return to bolder colors. This man understands projecting power to the world and not looking passive. Now, is he wrong in that? Kennedy purposely chose this pastel scheme that we've used back in those days because he wanted to project passivity. If you think about it, he was there just a few years after World War II. Vietnam was going on. He had a different approach to the projection of power, and they softened the plane on purpose. Trump hardened the colors, and it looks great. It's our national colors. But and as you remember, it was a gift from a foreign country. It was a Boeing jet, just the base model of the jet. It had to be retrofitted. I'm surprised they got it online as quickly as they did. And so Trump was flying around in it in America's 250. He went overseas in it on this recent trip. All the press gaggle and those who travel on that plane with the president were along for the ride. And it was a lot of fanfare. But then suddenly Trump wasn't flying on the plane anymore. He went to one of the, we now call them the backup planes, but the planes he was just using a few days ago that are still in service. They've not been mothballed yet. While this plane went offline to be, the story was they were going to parade it around to some military bases to show it to some military people as a morale booster, and Trump could just use the backup planes. But I'm suspicious of that, and let me just tell you why. Trump started talking about this himself just the other day in one of his news conferences. I think it was the one at NATO. And he started talking about being on the hit list from the Iranians. He was talking about how he is on the target list, that they're his number one target. And sometimes, as you know, when he just starts rambling, he'll just start saying stuff that's really on his mind. It's something that he's thinking about. And I'm very curious that there might not have been some intelligence, that there was something about that plane that created a vulnerability, and they decided to, as a caution, switch Trump to the older plane. I don't know why. I could guess that, and it's a complete guess, but that the sort of rush to get this plane on public display as part of the fervor that came along with America's 250, all the patriotism and all the nice stuff that was happening. I think Trump had a deadline, and they may not have finished some of the security measures on the plane. If so, that's concerning. Or it may be that there's a vulnerability that has just been discovered by the Iran, of whatever the Iranian threat may be. The president's always under threat. We've already seen that here domestically in this country, and the Secret Service has been under fire for failing in a number of venues and not being prepared. Some of that stuff's being corrected. Some of the corruption's being corrected. Some of the sort of DEI type incompetent hires are being weaned out to people that know what they're doing. And so confidence is growing with these guys, but they did make an adjustment, and I don't think it had to do with a PR hit for our friend. Come on over here, from a PR hit for the president or any of that nonsense. Anyway, quick interview. I'm talking to as many people as I can here at the IRMA. Tell the folks who you are again.
I'm T Money. I've been working at the IRMA for 26 years.
You talked to us 3 years ago. We just had a good time talking to you. What do you do here at the IRMA?
I wait tables in the main dining room for
Yep.
Mr. Mike Derby.
Yeah, he's a good guy, isn't he?
Mike West.
Oh, let's hear it. You got some dirt on him?
I got a lot of dirt, but I can't talk about that. He's a great guy.
He
He
is.
really is. He's a great dude.
You know, of all the people when we do these shows around the state or when we go out west, some people take them a minute to try to understand what we're doing. Mike gets it right away. He goes, "My saloon is your saloon. You come on in and do what you want to do."
Absolutely.
He's a good
You
dude like
betcha.
that.
Absolutely.
So, how do you like being here 27 years? Tell me some IRMA stories.
I moved from the South. I see a
Where'd
lot.
you come from?
I came from southern Missouri.
I think I remember you telling me
Remember that?
Yeah,
You remember that? Yeah.
You had some stories.
Do you remember Kim?
Tell me about Kim.
Kim is Mike Derby's ex-wife.
That's right. Mike owns the place.
Sorry to bring that up.
No, she was cool. Mike said, "I'm gonna bring you all the guests." I said, "Bring anybody you want." We were talking to city officials and everybody on that trip, and she's a realtor, right? If I remember right. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Mike said, "I'm gonna bring a realtor over to talk about the real estate market." I said, "That'll be fun." He goes, "By the way, it's my ex-wife." I was like, "I understand." That's okay."
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say?
I don't know what you got to say.
Who knows? Oh, you said I'm not allowed to cuss, but remember last time I cussed on here?
You did, and
And you had to bleep me out, remember?
I forgot the word you used, but Brenda's got a potty mouth back there behind the bar, so I have to watch
let's
out.
don't even go there.
She threatened my life a little while ago because I went back there to. Y'all see Brenda walking in the background? She's the one slinging the drinks back here.
We're not even going to go there. She might have a gun.
She's
on
tough, man. I realized
old.
that.
She's an old cowgirl. You might
I know.
watch
I can
yourself.
tell. I can tell. I went back there to run a wire. I said, "Can I run a wire back here to get to my camera?"
She probably said,
She was about to slap me. She was like, "Nobody
bleep,
comes."
bleep, bleep.
She said, "Nobody comes back here. This is my bar." I was like, "Please."
Absolutely.
I had to beg her, but she was cool. She's a character herself. This whole place is full of characters, isn't it?
is way characters. A lot of the old boys have died, though.
Who's that? Like some of the cowboys that
Oh,
come through? And,
they have great stories. Great
oh yeah,
stories.
they were telling us. So what's the mix here? Clearly, there's going to be a lot of tourists here because you got to come see the IRMA.
Yeah.
But y'all got a lot of just town folks that hang out here every single
It's
day.
a lot of locals, a lot of mixture. It just depends, you know.
Yeah. Well, you come back and see us later in the show. We're here till 5. Are you working till 5?
Till 5? No way. Are you
Are you
crazy?
done? Are you
I
outta
got
here?
here at 5 a.m.
Good Lord. What are you still doing here?
I got to have a toddy, bub.
I'm just having Red Bulls. I can't do a toddy right now.
Okay.
Then I would be cussing and I'd get fired.
Yeah.
Like I don't do that already, AJ.
Where's your guy that was over here last time?
Who was over here last time?
The guy was on the other side. He was like,
Oh, that
bleep,
was just-
bleep, bleep.
Oh yeah.
bleep.
Oh, the guy. She's talking about you, AJ. He's got the dump button. You can't hear him. You don't have the headphones on, but he's over there. He's back in Birmingham handling.
Okay.
He's in the plane back in Birmingham.
What's up, AJ?
She said, "Hey, AJ."
Yeah.
Yeah, he kept us out of trouble
Is
last
this
night.
even
He's good
on?
looking. Yeah, you're talking on the air right now.
Are
You're
you
talking
serious?
to hundreds of thousands of people in
What's
Alabama.
up, Tennessee from Cody, Wyoming, baby?
The hell with Tennessee. You're talking to Alabama.
Oh, I mean, Slammies, my bad. Alabama Slammies, my bad.
We're Slammies, AJ.
Alabama Slammies.
Thank you for coming to hang out with us.
You too, baby. Great. Good chatting.
All right, we are. She's gonna go have a toddy and get the hell out of here. I don't blame her. I may do that too when the show's over. We're at the Irma Hotel here in Cody, Wyoming. Y'all hang out with us. This is gonna be fun today. This may be one of our best shows outside of the big rodeo itself. Later in the late next week, this is gonna be a lot of fun. We're watching the headlines. We're taking care of business. 545-9950 is the phone number if you want to get on the show. Bring it. Lead on live. Y'all stay tuned.